You finish. So we are working with the wind again. Microphone is working, but it's not always unaffected with the wind. And today I thought we would focus on part of our strengthening series. I thought we'd focus on some arm balances and inversions. So less of a flowing class, more of a kind of workshop. Ways that you can get into headstand and handstand, and also a couple of arm balances as well. Two of my favourites, so Bakasana crow pose and Asana Bakasana, which means falling staff pose. If you struggle with some of these arm balances, some of it is just about actually getting stronger. And how do you get stronger? Well, we get stronger by doing the things that make us stronger. So quite often people will say to me, I'm not flexible enough to do this pose, I'm not strong enough to do this pose, I'm not fit enough to do this pose. Well, how do you get to do the pose and be all of those things, strong, flexible, and have stamina? It's actually by doing the poses. So instead of kind of shying away from some of these more challenging poses, let's just work on doing something towards them. And it might not be doing the full pose, but gradually as you're working towards it, this is the goal really. The goal is to work towards it. Yes, there is an end goal of a practice and a posture that you might want to get to, but the goal is actually the journey rather than the destination. I'm sure you've heard that many times before. So we're going to start, we will do a few sun salutations just to warm up. And then we'll go straight into our headstand practice, and we've done this on the other series, the other sequences before, but it's always good to revisit headstand. I'm next to a wall today because we are going to use the wall for a handstand practice. Okay. So sitting comfortably. Thank you, Charlie. Charlie's joining us. And bring your hands in towards your heart. And we'll begin by chanting Om Om together. With the sound of Om, we let go of all thoughts, past and future. We come into this present moment, open to receive all that this time has to offer. So first a deep breath in through the nose. Then an exhale out the mouth. After your inhale, one Om. And then hands down onto your thighs, lifting up the heart, drop the shoulders, lengthen the sides of the neck, and then start to breathe deeply in and out through the nose. Taking in long breaths through the nose, down the back of the throat. And exhaling from the lowest parts of the lungs, the middle to the top, and then out through the nose. Getting into Ujjayi breath. Here we go, next inhale, take your right hand behind, left hand over the right knee. Have a twist, look over the right shoulder. Inhale, come back to the center. Your left hand behind, right hand over the knee. Exhale, twist. Inhale back to the center, change the cross of the legs, opposite foot forward. And then bring your fingertips to the floor and exhale, start to walk your fingers forward. Lengthen from your lower back, move the chest forward, shoulders back. So looking down but also slightly forward. And work the hands back in. Come up onto the hands and knees. So just some gentle warm up to start with. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Inhale, arch back, roll the shoulders back, lift your head, look up. Exhale, bring the chin in and lift the spine. Inhale, roll through the spine, roll the shoulders back, lift your head. Exhale, chin comes in and lift it. Inhale, arch. And then with the next exhale, lift the hips up for downward dog. Press into the floor with your hands, back with your feet, lifting the hips up, round down with the feet, working towards the heels coming down, but if they don't come down, it's not a problem, just ground down with whichever parts of your feet and your hands come to the floor. And then we're going to slowly step back to the front of the mat, extend, look forward, exhale, fold in. And then softly bend the knees, hands for hips, and come up. So we'll start from front transitions. As ever, I have to work around the cat. So raising up the crown of the head towards the sky, shoulders dropping. Inhale, lift your arms up, palms together, look up. Exhale, fold in towards the legs, or towards the knee. Inhale, lengthen away from the legs forward. Exhale, big step back into down dog. Inhale, come forward to a plank. Exhale, drop the knees, lower the chest. Point the toes, inhale, shoulders lift just a little bit. Touch the toes, exhale, lift the hips up, down again. Let the shoulders roll out to the side. Engage your thighs. Drawing in the navel and also slightly up with the pelvic floor. Uddiyana Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha again. And your head is just hanging. And then look forward, inhale, step or jump back to the front, extend away from the legs. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, arms to the side. Okay, let's start again. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen, look forward. Exhale, this time straight into a plank. Lower yourself down over Chaturanga Dandasana or the floor. Inhale onto the front of the feet, lift the chest, look up. Exhale, down the dog. Long breath. Forward, inhale, step or jump back to the front. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Okay, and again. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, folding towards the legs. Inhale, lengthen away from the legs, look forward. Exhale. Back into your plank, lower down, and then you can bring your knees down if you need to. Lower all the way down. Inhale, roll back the shoulders, lift the chest, look up. And then touch the toes. Exhaling, hips up and back, down the dog. Just evening the hips and the shoulders to the floor. Making sure your toes are turning forward, middle finger facing forward, your shoulders on your wrists, and turn the fingers slightly out to the side for that. Okay, and then come on to your knees. So we're going to do a little dolphin pose, the headstand preparation pose. And just look like that. So dolphin pose, interlock the fingers, keeping the palms of the hands open, thumbs touching, and then there's a slight scissoring in of the elbows. So we're going to keep this one long and wide to start with. Feet apart, press your wrists into the floor, lift your hips up, let your head hang down. Heels lift, shoulder blades are moving up towards my hips. 5 breaths here. We start out quite gently. And then come down onto the knees, bring your arms down to the sides, and lift your head down. Okay, sweep the hand forward. We're going to do another one of those. This time a little bit tighter. So fingers locked in, and whatever little finger is on the outside, swap that inside. That will activate bicep and tricep. Slowly you start to pull in towards the center. You're going to bring the knees together this time, toes together. Hips lift, heels lift. I'm going to walk the feet in a little bit closer towards the hands, but keeping the head off the floor. 5 breaths here. And then you come down again. Release the hands back. Forehead down. Okay, so our next one, I'm going to turn to face the wall for this one. We're going into a headstand from a dolphin pose. So I've got my mat towards the wall, but I'm going to come up without using the wall. And then I'll show you what maybe you can do if you need to use a wall. In fact, let's do that first. Let's do that first. So when you're going to come up, if you really do need to use a wall, and I recommend that you don't, but that's easier said than done. I did lots of practice of headstand, falling out of it before I stayed in it. But there is a fear attached to that, and I totally understand that. So if you are a little bit fearful, and especially if you're on your own and you're practicing, you might take your practice to the wall. But you're not going to be really close to the wall, so you're not going to be actually touching the wall. So you come into a dolphin pose, lift your heels up, walk in as much as you can until you get the crown of your head onto the floor. And then this is what you're going to do if you're coming to a wall to practice this. Bring your knee in and then touch your foot to the wall. Bring your other knee in, touch your other foot to the wall. Then take your feet up the wall. Then move your feet away from the wall if you can. So using a wall, you can come up slowly and gradually, push into your heels. If you feel out of balance at all, just bring your heels back. and then try again. So we're going to come down the same way. Bring your heels in. Bring one foot down, and then the other. And then release down. So do not try, once you've done a headstand, sorry, it's so bright here. Once you've done a headstand, once you come down from the headstand, don't lift your head up straight away. You will instantly feel dizzy and you might even feel a little bit sick. So just let the blood pressure regulate a little bit. So I'm going to show you this same posture but without the wall. You can also try this and be maybe a little bit closer into the wall, for example. So if I go just about a foot away from the wall, still know it's there, right? Okay, so forearms down, heels lift again, walk in. I recommend doing this dolphin pose before you come into your headstand. And then start to move the hips back, bring the heels in. Then start to lift your heels up. So I'm close enough to the wall that if I really feel unstable, I can just bring one foot into the wall. So ideally we're looking at 10 breaths here to start with. And then you work up to 20, 30, and eventually 60 breaths, which is about 3 minutes. So I'm going to bring the heels in, bring the knees in, whoop, a bit unsteady, and then shoot down, and then lower down again and stay down. Okay, so you'll notice then, if you feel a little bit unsteady like I did then, what you don't want to do is go into panic. As soon as you feel a little bit unsteady, sometimes people twist their neck or they shift their shoulders around or something like that. Don't do that. If you feel a little bit unsteady, just go, okay, it's fine, I'm just going to come straight back the same way. So you want to keep that alignment, and this is especially important because yes, we're standing on our head, but obviously our head is connected to our neck, and you don't want to damage the neck. As soon as you start moving hips and shoulders around, then you start to give yourself the potential to skewing the neck a little bit. So I felt a little bit unsteady then, but that's fine. I just came straight back. Okay. So instead of thinking panic, I need to move my head. You don't need to move your head. The head is what moves left, and that's when you're down. Okay, good. So we're going to move on to here, onto our handstand. And we're going to do two different ways of doing this. We're going to do the L-shaped handstand, and then the handstand kicking up towards the wall. Okay, so the L-shaped handstand, you can do this with a couple of bricks as a measurement tool. You put your legs out in front, sit against the wall, and where your heels are, this is where the heels of your hands will be. So I'm just going to put the bricks there so that I know that's where my hands are going to be. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to bring my hands onto the bricks. I'm just bringing you a little measurement tool. Hands shoulder width apart. Middle finger facing forward. So you're going to come up into down dog with the heels lifted up the wall. And then bring your heel, one heel in towards the wall. Press the foot into the wall and bring the other foot up. Get your shoulders over your wrists and your feet pressing into the wall. Sometimes people slip down the walls. You have to keep pressing your feet into the wall, keep pressing your hands down to the floor and push back in towards your feet. And then just let the head hang for this one. And then when you come down, take your feet a little bit away from the wall. Take your hips towards the wall. And then just hang down and hold onto your elbows. And you just let your arms hang down. Let your head release. Let your shoulders release. Okay. And then come back up. So I find that one quite tough. I actually find the preparation for the handstand tougher than the handstand. Tucking myself in. So we are going to go for the handstand. And you can do this if you have somebody to help you. That's really useful because they can help to lift your leg up the wall. Can't really demonstrate that right now because I don't have to here to demo this. So we're going to go from picking up. Hands come not exactly close to the wall, just a couple of inches or a few centimetres away from the wall. And we're going to straighten the arms and come back into down dog. Okay. So when you're practicing this as a beginner, what you might simply be doing is just kicking, 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 and not even getting to the wall. But like I said at the beginning, it's those little preparation techniques that help you to eventually get into a handstand. And if you don't get into a handstand ever, that's also fine because you are strengthening anyway without that. Some people love handstands, some people don't. I'm kind of halfway between. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I'm not so sure. So I'm going to bring one foot forward. Okay, this leg, now my left leg, which is my strongest leg, is going to act as a spring. And this leg is going to lift up. Okay, so hopefully you'll come up all the way in one. But quite often I don't. So I'm going to look forward and remember your bent knee is your spring. So it's a deep breath in. I'm just going to rock backwards and forward and then lift up. Okay, try again. And lift up. Whoop. And again. And lift up. Oh, it's not happening for me today. Let me try one more time. Okay. So you can see it's not always that you get up straight away. So you look at the space between your thumbs, push your heels into the wall, lift your heels up the wall, and you might come away from the wall, just like I did, and then just turn down. Okay, so some days I go straight up, and some days like today, that took me 4 times, right, to get up. One thing you might want to do, if you're not coming all the way up and you don't feel confident, is literally just this practice. I'm going to practice on the other side with the right foot forward. So this practice is literally just pressing your foot into the floor and then lifting this time with the left foot. So it's a lift, 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 lift. Okay? You might just do that 3 or 4 times, and then have a hang. So I'm going to take feet away from the wall, hips towards the wall, and then just let the head hang. Okay, and then coming back up. So you'll see that if you're not coming all the way into your handstand, you can just practice the kick, kick, kick. Eventually, you'll kick up and you'll get to the wall. And like I did several times, kicked up to the wall and then came back down again. Up and down. So it's literally just trying that. It's trial and error. And one bit of advice is not to take it so seriously. There are some incredible classes, both in person and online, how to teach you into inversions, especially handstand. It takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication. If this is a pose that you really want to reach, then you're going to have to put that time and dedication in probably every day. If you're someone like me, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't like it. So I do it occasionally. Sometimes I really feel playful and I want to do it. Do it when you feel good. Actually, sometimes I've felt quite angry and I've done a few inversions, and that's completely, literally turned my head around. And that's exactly what's happening. Like, it's turning your mood on its head. So that works. I can try that. Okay. So we're going to try also some arm balances. And we're just going to come down into a squat position. I'll show you it from this side. So I'm squatting down, feet facing forward, hands together, elbows in towards the inner knees, lift the chest up. So we're going to come into Bakasana, which is a crow pose. But first we're just going to try a little bit of squat action. Shoulders rolling back, pressing the hands together. So I'm pushing my elbows out towards the knees and pushing the knees in towards the elbows as well. I'm going to have a little twist from here as well, just to break up the cycle of inversions. Right hand forward, left hand behind, and then wrap the right arm behind your back. Twist, roll the left shoulder back. And then back to the center, left hand down, right hand back, and wrap the left hand back behind, and roll the right shoulder back. And then bring your hands back to the center. So let me just turn to face the other way. I'm going to try this with a brick and without a brick. Without a brick to start with. So from your squat position, lift the heels up, press your hands down, and then lift your hips up. Okay, so walk your knees as close in towards your armpits as possible. So lift the heels up and then slot your knees as high up towards your arms as possible. But your elbows are going to bend back. So classically, this position, Bakasana, is with straight arms, but that takes a little bit more experience and a little bit more strength. By all means, if you have that experience, then try it with straight arms. But I'm going to lift the knees up, bring the knees in towards the tops of the arms, lean forward, look forward, press your fingertips into the floor, and then lift one foot up and then the other. and then stay looking forward. Try to get your toes to touch. Squeeze the knees into the tops of the arms. Hold it as long as you can. And then come back down again to your squat. So a lot of these poses are a little bit hard on the wrists. I'll show you a wrist release after we've done this. A shoulder release and a wrist release. Okay, if you want to practice this, so if you find this difficult to come up, sometimes people practice it on a brick. So they're already high. I personally find this more difficult, but let's give it a try. So your heels are lifted, knees up towards the armpits, lean forward, and then come up from your brick. And if you're nervous again, you can just come up 1 foot up at a time. So I quite often say to people who are like, oh my God, what if I'm going to hit my head? Well, first look forward and don't look down. Look forward. Maybe it's just 1 foot. Then the other foot. And then maybe it's both. Grip the fingertips into the floor. And then have faith in the strength of your arms. So you might just be thinking, well, easier said than done, have faith in the strength of my arms. But that's what we're working towards. The strength in your arms comes from drawing your elbows towards the center. So you're using your biceps, but you're also really using your triceps quite a lot. And then as we're drawing to the center, we're also drawing in the abdominal muscles. So the thing that stopped me from falling in Bakasana and crow pose is gripping the fingertips into the floor. So this is a good technique to remember. If you feel, quite often people feel when they're coming into this pose that their head is just going to smack down. If you feel that's you, then have a cushion there. Start out with a cushion. Or, better, is to just grip your fingertips into the floor. Once you grip your fingers into the floor, the tendency is that your hips will move back. So instead of your head moving forward, your hips will move back a little bit. So you can play with that balance between forward and back. Initially, when you're a beginner doing this pose, nobody wants to go too far forward because they don't want to hit their head. So they keep falling back, falling back, falling back. So instead of falling back, you grip the fingertips into the floor, then elbows into the sides, gather everything back into the center, draw in the abdominals, then 1 foot up, then the other foot, and try it that way. All these little techniques, and again, just be playful with your practice because this is just trial and error. Okay, so the next pose, our last arm balance today, is called Astavakrasana, which means 4-limbed staff pose. And my microphone's gone off. Right. Okay, so Astavakrasana. With this one, we are going to also get into the hips a little bit. Okay, so we need to go this way. Well, I need to go this way. Okay, so holding on to both sides of your right foot, lift your right leg up, and then take your knee back. And we're going to go backwards and forwards. So we go back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just to open up the hips. Actually, I am going to turn back this way. Doesn't make sense. Take the right arm underneath the leg and then the right hand down to the floor. Okay. So now I'm going to take my left foot over my right foot. And again, you might just be here. This might be as far as you go today. If you can come up, you're going to lean forward and then just practice lifting the hips up off the floor. And then back down again. Okay, so we're going to do that again. And again, I'll show you this on bricks. We're going to come up. And this time, see if you can take your feet out to the sides and lean forward. And then come back up and back down. Okay, I was too close to the wall. So a way to do this by using the bricks is same thing. Let's keep with the right leg. But this time we're going to take hands onto bricks and see if that helps you get a little lift. Lean forward. Oop. Lift up the hips. And then take the feet out to the right. And then start to bring your chest down. That's not working for me. Let's do the other side. So holding on to both sides of the left foot, lift the left leg up. Take an inhale, exhale. Knee goes back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep it back. Left arm underneath the leg. Left arm out to the side. Right foot over the left. Just remember, this might be as far as you go. And if it is, that's fine. Stay there. Then lean forward a little bit. Lift the hips up. Okay, so practice that a few times. Leaning forward, hips lifting. Leaning forward, hips lifting. Next time, maybe you can take your legs out to the side. Elbows come into the sides of the body. And then I'm going to look forward. So my elbows are bent. I'm looking forward. Then we come back up and rest. Whew. Okay. Quite the workout. Let's release the shoulders a little bit. So onto the hands and knees. Just take your right arm underneath your left. Walk your left fingers forward. And then take your left foot out to the side and roll onto your right shoulder blade. And just feel that release in the shoulder. And then walk the hand back in, bring the knee back in. We'll do the other side. So left arm underneath the right. Walk the right hand forward. Take your right foot out to the side. Lean into your left shoulder. It comes back in, hand comes back. Okay, and then what I mentioned before about the wrists. So yes, arm balances, inversions can be quite difficult on the wrists. So we're just going to release the wrist and just two or three simple methods to release the wrists. Come up onto the hands and knees and then flip your right hand. So the palm of the hand is facing up and you're leaning into the back of the right hand. And then bring your thumb and your little finger together Bring all the fingers and the thumb together, and then wiggle the fingers and the thumb. Okay, and then release your hand forward, flip the left hand. You're on the back of the left hand. Little finger and thumb together. All the fingers and thumb together. And then wiggle the fingers and thumb. And then flip the left hand back. Okay. So the next one, we're going to turn the right fingers inwards. So the wrist is facing out. And then just a gentle leaning into that right wrist. And remember, if you're like me and you have hypermobility, do not push into your elbow joint. So press your elbow joint back a little bit. And then turn the left hand in. So you're on both hands. And turn the right hand forward and just stay on the left hand. And then bring the left hand forward. Okay, and then sit back onto your heels. And then the final one, just take your arms out in front, thumbs into the center, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Turn the palms of the hands down, ease into your wrist. So ease the wrist down. Just feeling that gentle stretch through the wrists. And then release your hands. One thing I would say avoid doing is this shaping action. You might feel like that's what you need to do initially, but all that does is kind of disturb the bones of the wrist a little bit more. So just that action is better than shaking. Okay, good. So I think we have completed, we've completed our shoulder practice today, our inversions and arm balances. Just 2 inversions, 2 arm balances. That's enough. Okay, so you're going to get ready for Shavasana. Cross your leg over at your ankle, go back over your feet. If you have the bolster underneath the backs of your legs or a cushion. And then take a blanket. You want to cover yourself. So we're going to come down, very important to have a breath. Come down to the floor. Release. Lift the chest up and let the shoulder blades come under. Relax your legs. Specifically relax your shoulders, your neck, and your arms. So these are the places we've worked more deeply, with more focus, more intention today. Just relax. Relax the muscles in your face. Allowing yourself to sink into the floor. either side in Shavasana a little bit longer, as long as you move. Or you can start to move your fingers and toes. Just examine where it is you're feeling this practice. Pop your head from side to side. Check in with your neck, shoulders. Stretch your arms back and then roll to one side, keeping your head supported by your arm on that side. And then when you're ready, make your way to seated position. If you have find that, allow your knees to drop lower than your hips. So as ever with my teaching outside, I have the challenges of the wind and external sounds, birds, and also a few cat visitors, as usual, and the microphone failure. So I hope you managed to stick with it. But I won't worry about all of those things, because I think this is what makes it part of our practice, is to acknowledge there are all these external disturbances happening, and things will go wrong as usual, but to try to stay centered and focused while that is happening. That's also part of the yoga work. Just have a moment of sitting with your eyes closed, and again just feeling your body, feeling where that practice took you. Maybe it shifted a few things emotionally for you. Sometimes inversions can really, as I was saying at the beginning, turn things on their head. So generally, if you felt a little bit angry at the start of an inversion practice, you usually feel a little bit better afterwards. Or if you felt a little bit sad, emotional, quite often it will bring you some joy. Hopefully it doesn't have the opposite effect, but if it does, just examine those feelings as well. Sit for a moment. So, respect. Notice what you're feeling on a physical level, but also a physiological level. Feel whatever change. And then bring your hands in towards your heart. So we'll finish our practice by chanting 3 Oms together and chanting. So first, a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale your air. After inhale, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace within, peace to each other, peace to the whole of existence. Unity. Thank you for joining me. Remember, have fun in your practice. Take some time to observe and reflect. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day or night when you're practicing. Beautiful.